Chopin composed some of the world's most recognizable pieces. But he also revolutionized the piano in ways not thought possible before his time. So when I came across Chopin's only fugue, I was curious to see if it was any good. And the best part of this fugue is actually its potential and its missed opportunity. And I'm going to point this out to you when I come across this. I even helped Chopin out a little by composing what I thought might have been some better development. But I'm also going to assess whether I think that this is actually even a fugue. I wanted to notate this fugue a while ago, but then I came across this notation. This is a trill indicator, and Chopin used these a lot in this fugue. So I decided to code in mordents and trills into Music Jotter a lot earlier than I expected. And a mordent is where a note will have a quick alternating movement like this. And it either goes upwards or downwards. So the default mordent will follow your scale, but you could change steps between the mordents if you want to. And I'm going to add graphic indicators at a later time. You can also change the number of alternations. So if you want to use the default mordent, you're going to have 3 alternations. But if you use the default mordent at 3 alternations, then you can essentially replace the need for a triplet by using the mordent in this way. Here are some famous works that use mordents. A trill is similar to a mordent, except that it's not a short alternation. The trill alternates notes over the total duration of that note. And of course, you can also change the number of note alternations. And the trill line is just a shortcut indicating to trill all notes under that line, like this. Default trills will follow the scale just like a mordent, but you could change the interval to anything you want to. And trills also work very well with ties. Music Jotter is a software application that I'm building from the ground up. I'm not only designing the software to make composition easy and fun, but I'm also providing you with excellent playback quality. Take a look at this example of Bach's 3-voice fugue. You can clearly see how each voice plays independent of one another, which makes this also an excellent teaching aid. So if you're excited about this new technology, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to become an early access member, be sure that you check out the links in the description. You can get access to the software today while the prices are still low. Now that we have an understanding of the mordent and trill, we can get back to Chopin's Fugue in A minor. Chopin composed this fugue sometime in 1841, making him 31 years old. So we know that he was a matured composer. And this is actually really important to keep in mind. Right away, we see that this is only a two-voice fugue. Now, there's nothing wrong with two voices, other than it just may make for a bland fugue. Counterpoint, which is generally a requirement for a fugue, will also be difficult to achieve. But so far, this is a good start because we have a clear theme, which is called a subject. And the subject is also well developed at 7 measures long. This section here is also pretty good because there's a little syncopation, which represents the subjects. But then it seems that Chopin wasn't sure how to proceed, so he just threw in a bunch of trills in the left hand at this section here. And I feel like Chopin didn't quite get the counterpoint correct because we have some opposite hand motion here. And I'm still only hearing one melody. As a quick aside, counterpoint is when we interweave melodies together. So to qualify as a fugue, it should utilize counterpoint. But counterpoint can be used in any style of music. Let's take a look at this part of Henry's Sonata. And Henry executed counterpoint much more effectively in his sonata than Chopin did in his fugue. So now I have to ask the question, is Chopin's Fugue in A minor really a fugue? This seems like it could be classified as an invention, but let's keep going. Once we're finished with the subject, the development, in my opinion, sounds more like an exercise. I wouldn't even think that this is Chopin, the man who composed this just 1 year later. really at this part here, even though it's better, this isn't necessarily counterpoint because he's alternating the themes from the treble clef to the bass clef instead of overlapping them. And this is more like a call and response technique. In fact, the composer Richard Strauss uses this technique in Don Juan. Notice how the orchestra responds to the calls from the violins and the woodwinds. This technique is not counterpoint, but it acts more like a conversation between two or more instruments. Okay, so my opinion on the trills in this piece. There's a right way to use a trill, and then there's the wrong way. Here's the right way. The trills in Chopin's Fugue, though, they seem to be filler notes because it could be he just wasn't sure how to develop this fugue. And if you were to take away the trill, we're literally left with just one voice at certain parts. So if you think about it, this fugue may in fact be a soliloquy in certain sections. But it's at this section here where we have a missed opportunity. Let's listen carefully. This is where Chopin could have introduced a stretto before his final entry. And a stretto is where a composer overlaps the subject in different voices in short and rapid successions. I did a video on Scriabin's Fugue a while back, and his stretto is very well done. Take a listen. So here's my attempt at converting this section into a stretto. But you can see that it's very hard to do a good stretto with just two voices, so I did have to introduce another voice. Let me know what you think about my enhancements. I don't mind this section here because I like how the right hand comes in to join the left hand at this section. The final entry, unfortunately though, is very weak. The trill just makes this part hard to listen to. In fact, if you were to just take out the trill and play these as untied whole notes, it actually sounds much better. But these last four measures are telling me that Chopin just wanted to finish this quickly and move on to his fourth ballad. And I don't blame him. But to be fair, this fugue was a quick exercise composed by Chopin, and the piece clearly wasn't meant to be published. But this video is really just meant to show you how even geniuses of a craft have their specialty. And Chopin's specialty was taking the piano and creating music that was not thought possible with a single instrument. But one thing is for sure, let's just leave the fugues to Bach for now.